It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the three films of November 30th, 2007. And this is the week after Thanksgiving, so usually that means the studios take a breather during this because they've already released the big holiday releases on Thanksgiving weekend, and this weekend definitely was no exception, as only one major wide release went out this weekend, and that is the film we're going to talk about right now, and that is Hayden Christensen in Awake. Such a good premise here. You have a guy who is going into open heart surgery, and they give him the anesthetic to like shut him down while they're doing this. So there's no way that he can feel pain and all that. But you have this one guy who played by Christensen, who he has a failed anesthetic that leaves him completely alert but paralyzed and unable to tell his doctors. And then they ruin it by adding a conspiracy theory aspect to it. And yes, this is the thing that literally kills the movie right after a really good premise, because come on, a story about a guy who is going into surgery to have open heart surgery, and he's going in there and he's got this anesthetic, and then it fails on him, and the fact that he's still able to see and feel it without being conscious whatsoever. I mean, that's a horrifying thing to happen to you. And supposedly this happens in real life too. I don't know for certain because I've never had that happen before, but I would not be shocked at all if this actually does happen to a lot of people. And yeah, it is a very terrifying thing to think about, that you're supposed to get this anesthesia so you don't have to feel any of the pain whatsoever. And then you have this one guy here who is feeling this pain and can't do anything about it. And yeah, it's a good concept overall. It could have made for a really interesting and engaging film overall. And Christensen's doing the best he can with this performance overall. I think he's pretty good in here. But they have to ruin the film by adding the conspiracy theory aspect to it, because his best friend is doing this, played by Terrence Howard, and he doesn't find out until they put the anesthesia on him that there are people who are trying to they're killing him because they think they can get a big payday out of it. And it just gets so convoluted, and it gets so cluttered and messed up on so many levels, where like the basic message of the movie is that do not trust anybody that you know, not even people in your immediate family, because they are all out to kill you. As this movie shows, literally everybody that this guy knows wants him dead. And not just Terrence Howard, but his wife, played by Jessica Alba, which, man, what a bad year this was for her. And this was really, after Dark Angel ended, there was just no hope for her in terms of a leading film actress anymore. After a year where you have Rise of the Silver Surfer, Good Luck Chuck, and now this, your career is pretty much over and done with. No one will take you seriously as a leading actress anymore. But his mother is killed his father back when he was a kid. Like, everybody in this person's life hates him in some way, shape, or form. And it's just like, what am I supposed to take away from this whole concept altogether? Like, what am I supposed to take away by adding this conspiracy theory aspect to it? I mean, it really is the thing that just pushes this movie off the deep end, and it just takes away anything that the intriguing premise had going for it, and it just falls apart immediately, and it just ruins what could have been a really good movie, a really intense thriller that could have been something on the level of something like, a Jacob's Ladder, if you will. Like, go insane with it. Go over the top with some of these darker images that you could have in here, and no. They don't do that at all here, and because they went down this route, the film suffers big time. And yeah, like I said before, everybody in this movie just hates this guy because the only thing I can think of is that, he's a young billionaire, they want that money of his, and that's the only real explanation that you get from all of this. And it's just like, nothing about this makes any goddamn sense whatsoever, and it's just such a disastrous movie that takes a really good premise and just completely careens it once they throw in this aspect of, let's kill the guy while he's in here and take his money. Like it's just, it hurts my brain just thinking about it all over again, because I was so pissed off when I saw that. And it's just like, there's a way you could do this where it could be very interesting. It could have some really good twists and turns, but they destroy that almost immediately, and like it's not even clever the way they do it. They literally just throw it in there, and it just takes away anything good that this thing could have had for it. And yeah, and then what we get is a film that properly deserves to be dumped on the weekend after Thanksgiving, because yeah, this is a film that would have never done well on a regular weekend in the box office. Now, this would have been a weekend. This is the right weekend to release it on, because this is a weekend when you usually dump wide releases out there. And yeah, this is a film that clearly was meant to be dumped onto theaters, and overall, yes, was not a good film at all, despite a strong premise that kept it from, that could have made it something incredible, and it just wasn't there. And I was really, really let down by this movie big time because of the direction it went with. Just such a good premise, and nothing of value whatsoever came out of it. It's a film that's it's just a film that takes this 360-degree turn and ruins any good hope that this film had whatsoever. One of the biggest disappointments I ever had when I saw this movie for the first time. I was really let down by it. A really bad movie. Avoid it like the plague, because man, they took a great premise and just completely fucked it all up. What did I even say there? Fucked it all up. So that is the big wide release of the weekend, but there are still 2 limited releases that came out this weekend that were seen as awards contenders. Let's start with the first one we have here. Philip Seymour Hoffman and Laura Linney starring in the comedy drama The Savages. So in the story of The Savages, you have John and Wendy Savage, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman and Laura Linney, who are 2 siblings who spend their adult years trying to recover from the abuse of their abusive father, Lenny Savage, played by Philip Bosco, in actually his last film before he passed away in 2018. Suddenly a call comes in that his girlfriend has died. He cannot care for himself with this dementia, and his family is dumping him on his children. Despite the fact that John and Wendy have not spoken to Lenny for 20 years, he's even more loathsome than ever. The Savage siblings feel obligated to take care of him. Now, together, brother and sister must come to terms with their new and painful responsibilities with their father now, affecting their lives even as they struggle with their own personal demons Lenny helped create. And really, this is a story that I think a lot of people can really relate to. Not maybe to this extreme, but the idea of your parents going into hospice. I mean, my parents went through that with their parents. It's a very hard thing to do. It's a very hard thing to see, your loved ones just fading away like they did. I mean, I just had that last year with my grandmother, and yeah, so watching this, getting ready for this, was really hard to sit through for the first time, because it's my first time seeing it. It's one I've been wanting to see for a while now, and man, it's a really damn good movie, and it feels very realistic. It felt like something that, it really did feel very. It affected me a lot more. I mean, like I said, not to the levels of this movie's main family members. I mean, nobody in my family was ever abusive, as far as I know. But yeah, no one was ever abusive to the levels that this guy was here. But everybody just plays their part here very well. Laura Linney and Philip Seymour Hoffman once again are prove that they are great actors who could make this work. Philip Bosco, really fantastic in the film. It's amazing he did not get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. I really thought that he would have gotten a nomination for this, but Laura Linney did, as did the screenplay by the director Tamara Jenkins, who did Slums of Beverly Hills. But yeah, it is a real engaging movie. It's a film that does a good job of balancing the more serious moments with the more funny moments, and it does a very good job of handling it in a way that does feel very realistic and feels very, very in tone with what you expect for a film like this. And it just works because you got these 3 great actors working off each other, and you buy their relationship. You buy the fact that they are feeling these feelings overall. And yeah, they're not afraid to show the dark stuff in this movie. They're not afraid to show the serious stuff in this that really goes through all the situations that everyone goes through here. And yeah, it's a really good film. I mean, I don't have much more to say about it, man, because it's such a good film. It's definitely worth it. A very underrated movie that came out that year. I'm glad I finally got to see it. Definitely check it out, The Savages. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last film we have here, and that is The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. This is based off of John Demick's Bobby's memoir from 1997, where it depicts his life after his life. I thought it was a woman for some reason, but no, his life after suffering a massive stroke that left him with a condition known as locked-in syndrome. It was a highly praised movie when it came out, and received a couple of Oscar nominations overall. You saw it in that commercial there, which I thought for a second was a fake trailer, because there was just something weird about the announcer's voice in that. But No, that's apparently a real trailer. Or maybe one for the Emmy for the awards consideration. But yeah, I've never seen this movie before, so I can't really say for certain if it's any good or not. But you see all the word of mouth on it. You saw the high praise it got, and it definitely feels like a film that could have easily been one of the year's best movies overall. But it's a film that I never really got around to seeing. It's just a film that never really appealed to me all that much. But it is what it looks like. What it is. What it is. Maybe I'll check it out one day. But as far as I know right now, I've never seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. So that is the Diving Bell and the Butterfly for you. And so, with all of that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. As the next time we meet, we will jump into the final month of 2007 with 3 movies. The biggest one being basically the planned new fantasy film franchise. And who better to do it than New Line Cinema with The Golden Compass? And they used to say it didn't pan out as well as I think they wanted it to, but we'll talk about that movie. We also have Joe Wright's follow-up to Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley and James McAvoy, Atonement, and also Jason Reitman directing Juno with Ellen Page, of course now Elliot Page, Michael Cera, Jason Bateman, and Jennifer Garner, along with J.K. Simmons and Allison Janney. And we'll take a look at those 3 movies coming up on tomorrow's show. But with all of that said, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit the playlist below. Check out the previous episode. And also don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, notify, and the bell button, because you get updates on when new videos come out. And we do post new videos here every day. With all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time. And until then, as always, take care.